We have a bunch of weak, feckless leaders
Why
creating
around
hard
the
times
event?
right now.
What the fuck is going
Will
on?
you let me
right
Do we
now?
take him out to a farm and shoot him?
No spin, no filters, just the real conversation.
I hope it's not short-lived, man.
Because like this is all like been brewing up in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're seeing military members being driven out of the military because they didn't want to take the COVID shots, right? We're seeing people that aren't fit to be in the military drawn into the military. We're seeing weapons and ammunition and everything being sent overseas to Israel and Ukraine, drawing down all of the reserves that we have within the country. We're at the best that I can tell a net loss for oil in our country, right? Just the numbers that we were crunching earlier, right? With production, exports, imports, and usage a day.
We're pulling from the
So-
bank. Yeah.
We're pulling from the bank every day. And when we have a good day, good production day, maybe we put a little bit back in there. I don't know. But it just feels like there's just this constant draw on our reserves. Inflation's at an all-time high. We're printing money. Something weird is going on within our country. And it has been going on for a few years now.
Longer. We've been. Here's my hypothesis. It's not even a hypothesis. This is what I'm thinking. The foundations of all of our problems are, and this because that's what everything is being pinned to. Right? We're ruining the economy. We're ruining people's lives. We're ruining international trade. We're stalling all sorts of production across the planet because we're scared of our CO2 emissions because of global warming. However, if you actually look at global warming and you demand to see evidence of global warming, a lot of people like to point to the ozone layer, CFCs destroying it, right? Well, the ozone layer repaired itself, right?
Yeah.
It completely repaired itself. We didn't repair it. It repaired itself to no applause.
Yeah.
Still, it's a big old CO2 thing that we have to go and address. Yet, if you look at the cooling and warming periods of the planet at a geologic, at like a huge million years span, right? We're actually in the colder temperatures that the Earth goes through. And we are increasing, those temperatures. It's increasing from the coldest it's ever been to still being very cold on average, right? So no, we're not in danger of climate change. It's just the planet is warming, and to suggest that we in the last 100 years have somehow been the source of that, even though it started warming tens of thousands of years before humans produced a single fucking carbon dioxide, is silly. If you actually look at the data, it makes no sense. You don't see a single blip on the map in terms of heat increase as a direct result of CO2. You can't make the argument. You can't scientifically make the argument, but yet that's what we're being told. So everything's going to shit. And then, like everything else you just said, right? The dollar is being debased. We're spending like crazy.
Yeah.
We're destroying the American dream. We're opening up the borders. We're putting our money in ridiculous places. And we're putting it into FEMA to give to immigrants. Healthcare is getting ridiculously expensive. Nobody can buy a house, right? These poor people in Springfield, Ohio, are competing with Haitians for basic education, for the for the privilege to travel down the street without being plowed into by somebody who doesn't know how to drive.
Right.
The United States is a very strange place.
I heard a guy on the radio. He was talking about Springfield, Ohio, and how insurance premiums have gone up because there's been so many fucking accidents in the town. So now people are like, well, I can't even afford insurance on my car.
Yes, you're going to get hit by a Haitian. You're going to get hit by a Haitian. I'm not being racist. That is why it's going up.
It's why it's going up, yeah. But it sucks that it's going up for everyone in the town instead of just the people who are having the accidents. It's going up for everyone. Yeah. Because of how bad the accident rates are in the town.
If you do the research, these people do not have, they don't have insurance. Somebody's got to carry insurance, and it's the law-abiding citizens, the locals.
the insurance carrying citizens,
Yes.
the people that are following the rules of America. It is tragic. It is incredibly tragic.
So you were talking about this yesterday, though, because you're in the industry. You're in the energy industry in some fashion. You've explained it several times to me, and I get it, but I also don't get it. You're a very complicated dude. You build fabs. So we're basically, while at the same time we're curbing domestic production, we're increasing importation, but we're taxing that importation of oil, making everything that relies on oil in this country the price to go up, including primarily transportation, right?
Right. Well, I mean, it's everything, right? Because we use a lot of this oil to power generators, okay, throughout the country. It's not just hydro. There are diesel generation, and it increases electric bills, right? It increases everything.
Literally the world.
How much money it takes to get your goods to the store.
Are you familiar with the types? I should say the classes of civilization.
Like Stone Age versus the Renaissance.
Type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4.
No.
Okay, so type 0 civilization is us. We are still dependent on the earth, right? The earth itself for energy, right? We can't harvest it from the sun. We can't harvest it from anywhere outside of the planet. A type 1 civilization is a civilization that harnesses energy from the sun and is able to scoot around the solar system based off the energy from the sun. Then a type 2 is it pulls it more from the solar system and is surrounding stars. And the type 3 would be from its local galaxy, and a type 4 would be from an entire from anywhere in the universe, right? And so we're still trapped here on Earth, and our primary source of energy is fossil fuels. And the globalists are trying to curb the usage of oil, the thing that makes the Earth run, because they're scared of global warming, which was warming anyway, and the rest of us are suffering needlessly. If you want, we're taxing. So anyway, there's all these laws that are driving up the cost of oil, making it harder for us to acquire it. Meanwhile, on top of all of this, we're shipping billions and billions of dollars overseas. Just recently to Lebanon and Ukraine and Israel to go fight their wars, of which we're not participating in directly. It's all proxy shit. That does nothing for us, by the way. Nothing for us. So why? Why is this happening, Zach?
That is the $1 million question, Jesse. That is the thing I've been asking myself. It's like, are they trying to cripple the U.S. economy and the U.S. people so that the UN can take over? Like, I don't know. I really, truly do not understand what the point of kneecapping us is. Our own government doing it, too.
Yep.
I really do not. I can't fathom it.
I won't mention the V word, but the FDA has been weaponized against us to make Americans sick, starting at a very early age. Our military is, like you were saying earlier, our military is in decline, not from a technological standpoint, but from people actually being in the military. So our military is getting weaker and weaker. Our people are getting sicker and sicker. Our GDP is dropping, even though I think just recently they suggested it was increasing, but we're still kind of coming out of COVID. But our GDP is decreasing. Military strength decreasing. Confidence, the world has less and less confidence in the United States. So it's a direct attack on specifically the United States. Like Ozempic is a great example. Ozempic is going to be sold and potentially, what's the word? The government is going to subsidize Ozempic for obese Americans, of which 74% of the population qualifies as obese. It would cost the United States $3 trillion for this, assuming they all went on Ozempic, which we wouldn't. It's a miracle drug after all. We heard that from Carlos. But it's in Denmark where it comes from. The Danish are like, no, don't take this shit. Just go eat healthy. Go take an extra walk a day and you'll be better. Which is exactly the case. So it is clear that Europe isn't falling for this malarkey, but the United States is.
We like the easy button, bud. We do like the easy button.
Cost of transportation is obviously crazy, going through the roof. We're losing jobs as a result of this energy production. The cost of energy being more and more expensive.
Right.
The cost to manage the economy, because it's all done through oil. Literally everything that comes back to oil is going through the roof.
Right.
The cost of power is going through the roof. Cost of all goods is directly impacted. And of course, the American dream being, hey, go get married, have kids, buy a house. Well, housing market is in skyrocketing after COVID and has no intention of slowing down.
Nope.
Meanwhile, the production of houses has stalled. Why? I don't understand that one either. Meanwhile,
I mean, even if we did have a good production of housing within the country, we've added 21 million people that need housing within the country. That's a lot.
Are you talking about the illegal immigrants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot all at one time.
Yeah. We have 21 illegal immigrants that are all going to need a place to stay. Then didn't you say that, weren't you using Springfield as the example of where landlords are getting tax incentives for DEI tenancy? So these guys
the mayor of the town that made a sanctuary city, he's one of the biggest landlords in the town. Weird. Right?
So just I think we should hit that point one more time. So it's crystal clear. We have citizens of the United States living in a small town in Springfield, Ohio. They're having trouble paying rent. They're having trouble paying their mortgages because of all the increase of, one, the mortgage, the taxes, cost of living, production, the cost of energy, all that going through the roof. So they're finding themselves having to sell their houses or move out to go find cheaper places to live. Yeah. And coming in their place are Haitians, in this example, because these Haitians are getting tax incentives, aka the government is giving them money to go find apartments and houses to live in. And the local landlords of Springfield are evicting, not evicting necessarily, but letting their tenants.
They're not renewing their leases or whatever.
Not renewing their leases. They're not working with them. They're increasing the price of the rent year over year, and basically forcing them out so that they can go give these Haitians the contract, because they're going to get more money from the Haitians, which is coming from the government, from the U.S. government.
Correct.
That's sick.
It is crazy.
I have no problem with Haitian people. I don't. But to evict or to push an American family into the streets to satisfy the housing requirements of an imported Haitian is crazy.
Yeah. And this is happening in every state in the U.S. It's happening with every demographic of the world being brought into the United States at 21 million people. Rent for 2 years. That is going to skyrocket rent prices everywhere in the country. And full circle here, right? One person has a plan to fix that stuff. One person that we are currently voting for. Immediately he wants to start fixing the energy crisis. That's going to the foundation of our economy.
He's going to open up Keystone day one. Literally, that's the first thing he's doing when he gets back into power.
He is addressing energy needs in our country. Okay. Yep. That's his plan day one. I mean, you have somebody who is coming into office, somebody we can vote for in the next 14 days. 13 days now. Is it 13 or 14?
I think it's 13.
Okay. So day one, within the next 2 weeks, we have somebody that we can vote into power that's going to be fixing all of the problems that we are experiencing right now within this country just by fixing energy. Okay, that's huge. If he starts getting rid of at least the criminals, right, that is going to be another huge win for our country. We can waffle back and forth about everybody else that's here illegally and do some kind of, hey, you're an American citizen now, or if they have committed crimes, at least
let's not even go there. Let's not even go there. But yes, I agree. Like if you're not paying attention, Trump is going to have immediate impact to your life. It doesn't matter what walk of life you are, you will be impacted, most likely positively. If you're living here illegally, bad news bears. I would start planning on going back home before, because you don't want to get caught up in this dragnet. It's not going to be pretty. I'm not advocating for it. It's just not going to go well. Anyway, so the other thing to consider, everything we've been talking about impacts who? The lower middle class. If you're in the lower middle class, especially if you don't own your house right now, you're fucked. You are going to end up losing your house to BlackRock or Vanguard, and you're not getting it back. You're going to end up renting. The best you can hope for is renting your home back to you from one of these big banks or these massive clearinghouses.
Yeah, because they're very, very overt. They're very clear about wanting to own all the single family homes in America.
Everyone. And it's not just they're everywhere. They're trying to set up shop everywhere.
They start with the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
They'll be able to return more money on their investment there.
And
because they can do Airbnbs and rentals, short-term rentals, long-term rentals, whatever.
Do you know off the top of your head, are they allowed to do this in other countries? Or is it just the United States?
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised to find that other countries allow it.
Let me look. Okay, so while I'm looking this up, the question is, obviously the American dream is on the election. Is you're voting for the American dream, whether or not this is going to be a thing that you want or a thing you want to hand over to BlackRock and Kamala Harris's friends.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and to be perfectly clear, we've already had one of the two candidates talk about how the American dream is dead. So, and that was Kamala Harris. So do you really truly want somebody that's going to say out loud that the American dream is dead, or do you want somebody who has a plan for day one to fix everything that's going wrong in our country right now?
Right.
And I know where I'm going to be at, and hopefully the vast majority of everybody out there is going to be doing the same thing.
We're going to be talking about election interference here in a second, because it's going to
terrifying.
Take massive election interference, massive, and it looks like they're on track to do it. But anyway, okay, before we go totally off track here, the net result of what we're talking about is and you're already seeing this, is that the lower class and especially in the middle lower class are becoming more and more dependent on the government to live day to day. Everybody's living paycheck to paycheck, and it just takes one false step, one trip to the hospital, and you're latched onto the government teat for the rest of your life. That's it. That's just how it goes. Because healthcare in this country is so expensive. It doesn't matter what happens. If you are in those brackets, if you're not making over like probably $60,000 a year, you're likely depending on the government for something, especially if you have that family. Which is
hell,
silly.
even at 65, it's hard to make it work.
Right.
Without roommates or living with your parents or whatever.
So exactly. So what we're seeing is a direct attack on the American people and the American dream. But why stop there? You could slowly suffocate the American spirit, which is what you're seeing with all of these things happening, right? We're blaming everything on carbon, and we're slowly regulating the energy industry, making everything more expensive, and then just bringing in law after law after law, federal agency after federal agency after federal agency. You're now looking over your shoulder for everything. One misstep and you're fucking gone. And we're heading right into UK territory where you're going to be arrested for something you say on Facebook. That's where we're going. They're keeping America in a state of fear by increasing, by making petty crimes legal, by making drugs available and everywhere. You don't want to leave your house. You're scared. All right.
Yep.
But we could do better. So what do? They start diverting millions and millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars away from FEMA, giving that money to immigrants. So all these American families who are already suffering, who can't get health care, can't get dental, can't get vision, can't afford a car, who are stuck on crowded buses and subways, are watching these immigrants do better than them while doing absolutely nothing but getting into their country, which is going to hurt. It's going to sting. Then a hurricane comes through, wipes out your entire town, all of your property gone, friends and family dead, and no help. No help comes on top of all of the other malarkey. So we're going to start smashing you in the face with this, with basically this brutality, while you watch all of your money go to DEI efforts to help people that don't even live in your country. And then we're going to send the rest of it off to Lebanon to go defend themselves from Israel, who we're also giving money to attack Lebanon. It's insane. That is what is happening right now in the United States.
Yeah. And you have to sit here and watch all of this stuff, and you're like, why is everyone flocking to Trump's banner? Why are we seeing all of these Democrats leave the Democratic Party and flock to Donald Trump in record numbers? I've never seen an election like this before, ever. And then you see the old guard, right, flocking to Kamala. You see all of the government agencies, all of the failed presidents and vice presidents flocking to her banner. The Cheneys, the Bushes, the people that on the left traditionally reviled.
Oh, right.
Okay. Flocking to Kamala Harris's banner.
True.
So it blows my mind that it's not just apparent to every single one of us what the fuck is going on here, right? You see this old corrupt government flocking to Kamala Harris. The thing that we all want to change and get rid of. We want to turn the page and move to a better. We want that hope and change that Obama promised us. And I think Trump is going to give it to us. I really hope he's going to give it to us.
And I think that's a perfect segue into some of the election fraud that we're seeing. Did you hear today? Biden was on an interview. He was in his campaign office in New Hampshire, waddling around in front of a camera as he does. Poor guy. He's just so old.
Elder abuse.
He literally started talking about Trump, and he goes on and on about all the things, he said in 2019 about Donald Trump that he claimed to come true. And he finishes the statement with, "We got to lock him up." Again, we're back to the playbook of we have to lock this man up. Orange man, so bad. Get him in jail.
Well, I mean, Kamala was all over it. So was AOC. AOC was diving off the deep end about his McDonald's stunt, right? Like talking about how he's just a vile human being and he's doing all of this crap to belittle the American people because he feels that we're all just McDonald's workers. And Kamala Harris was coming out with the rhetoric again about how he's the most dangerous politician and he's going to completely wreck. And they're begging for more crazy lone wolf shooters to come out of the woodworks and go after Donald Trump. When are we going to start penalizing them for this crap? Like they shouldn't be talking like that. They shouldn't be talking about how Trump is Hitler.
It's just a tactic. It's another. They know they control the media. They control they literally everything. Even ChatGPT has a bias towards Trump or against Trump.
Yeah.
It will do whatever it wants. It says if you try to find anything good about Trump, it will typically give you an error saying it can't meddle and it doesn't want to interfere with elections, right? But if you talk about Kamala, it's no problem. It'll give you all the information you want.
Right.
And so if I'm doing research...
all of the misinformation you want.
Yeah, exactly. If I want to do any research in ChatGPT, it's still doable. I just have to be very, very clear to have it identify and exclude its own biases against Trump, which it does, and then it gives me better results. It's crazy.
Right.
And so I have the script, I copy and paste into it every single time I want to do any research on Trump, just to program it to ignore its own biases. It's nuts. But it works. So October 1st, we talked about this a while ago, but I just want to bring it back up again. 218,000 voters in Arizona were marked as eligible to vote even after they should have been marked as ineligible for failing to provide any proof of citizenship. And they're going to remain on the ballot. The state election board was like, nope, we're good here. We'll deal with it after the elections. That's literally what they said. So that's 218,000 people in Arizona in a swing state. Well, it's not really a swing state, but it's a narrow state.
Yeah. It's one of the 7 battleground states.
It's a battleground. Yeah. Yep.
In you were telling me earlier today about how Democrats aren't having any problems getting their mail-in ballots, but for some reason Republicans are out there in Arizona as well. So we're seeing just more and more manipulation going on. I mean, it's going to get pretty ugly, I think, over the next 2 weeks, because we see more Republicans going in and doing early voting. Apparently, one of the early voting places around here in Idaho was just jam-packed. The parking lot was jam-packed full today.
All Trump, baby.
I hope so, man.
I think Pennsylvania came out and they're like, oh yeah, early voting is going crazy. Like, look, we got 600,000 votes for Kamala. But they had like 345,000 votes for Trump, which is like unheard of. The Kamala votes are expected. They absolutely should.
Right.
Only 600,000? It's like if you looked on a graph, by now in Pennsylvania, you should be closer to 1 million for your Democratic candidate. And the fact that they're 350 shy and Trump is plus like 300 million for, 200,000 from where he would normally be is very, very telling of what's happening. However, in Michigan,
I was just going to say, I think Michigan, I heard that there was more voters voting than there are registered.
There is 1.2 million more voters on the rolls in Michigan than there are voters. There's 8 million people that are eligible to vote, but yet there's something like 9.2 million people voting or something silly like that. Like, what? Where did you get the extra million? And then this woman literally comes out, whatever her name is. The
one you were talking about
Jocelyn
yesterday.
Benson.
Yeah.
She is the Secretary of State, saying that if any of her counties say that there was fraud, that she is going to have them arrested.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound fair and free.
And if they don't certify their elections, she's going to come after them.
That's another one. If they don't certify them, like when she says they need to be certified, you're going to face some sort of court order. I don't know.
This is the lady that refused to take RFK off and took off the other one, right?
Cornel West. She sued the state to ensure that Cornel West was removed from the ballot so that all the Democratic votes would just go to Kamala. But she ensured that JFK remained on the ballot so that RFK would remain on the ballot so that vote would be...
JFK was probably voting in this election.
He's probably voting all over the place at this point. But here's another interesting thing, though. All the states that are doing this early voting through people can actually go in and actually do work on the Dominion machines.
Yeah.
All of them, literally all of them across every single state are coming back saying that the scanners are broken or that when they go and submit their ballots or when they go and type in their ballots and the paper ballot is printed out. So they go into the machine. They're presented with a UI. They go and tap all the options that they want for their ballot. Like I vote for Trump or I vote for Biden. And I want this initiative passed and I want this law passed, right? And then it's printed out. They'll find that in the printed version, their vote will be swapped. And it's typically only swapped from Kamala or from Trump to Kamala. And so all these people are getting ballots that say they voted for Kamala when in fact they voted for Trump. And so then they have to go back to some person and the person has to go and correct it. But the thing is, the correction is made in the Dominion machines, and they don't get to see if that correction went through all the way. And a lot of the times, the only way you can validate that is through a QR code that is printed out on your ballot. I don't know how to read QR codes. I'm not a fucking computer. And so you're basically just have to have faith. You're left with faith that they're going to do the right thing. Yeah. Luckily,
even with the massive amounts of people that are betting in the markets for Donald Trump, and you're seeing this huge upswing for Donald Trump. What is it, like 65 to 35 right now?
64.4% on the poly market.
It's growing wider and wider every single day.
Every single day.
I watch it every day.
Yep.
It's out of control.
Yep.
James Carville still gets on the fucking news cycles and thinks that Kamala Harris is going to win. He's like, I could be wrong, but I think Kamala Harris is going to win. I don't know if he has to do that. He's got some obligation to come out and stump for Kamala, or
probably
if he knows something we don't know.
I think there's nothing that we don't know. It's all here. That's what's so great about X is people can come and talk about this shit.
Yep.
Another thing that we talked about, think about the swing states. Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, Wisconsin, right? One of the things that you've been talking about is how illegal immigrants are going to vote. They're going to vote Democrat because Trump is, one, straight out telling them that, hey, I'm kicking you out of the country. And two, the Democrats are saying, we will feed and house you for free. You don't even have to worry about it. Free this, free that, get your driver's license, your green card, we'll set you all up. All you have to do is make sure that we stay in power so we can do these things for you.
Right.
So they're going to, obviously, if they have the balls to vote, they're going to vote for Kamala, the person who brought them into the country and now is promising them a whole bunch of stuff. So let's talk about the numbers. In Georgia, I'm going to mention some states, and I'm going to mention the number of unauthorized migrants living in that state and then the percent increase of that number since 2021. So in Georgia, there are 45,747 illegals living in Georgia. That is an increase of 401% over the last 3.5 years. North Carolina, there's 32,681, an increase of 446 since 2021. In Pennsylvania, it's 25,721, an increase of 241%. Arizona is 24,563, an increase of 734%, a massive increase. Nevada, 15,931, an increase of 562%. Michigan is 13,162, an increase of 775%. And Wisconsin, there's 10,768, but that's an increase of 467% of illegals moving into those states. Those are all, if those people voted, they would all swing that state dramatically blue.
Absolutely.
And they had no business being here, let alone voting in our federal election.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Kamala.
So it's going to be a pretty wild ride. So maybe that's where James Carville's getting his confidence.
Maybe. Because it's literally, these are the states. Those are the 7 states we're all going to be watching on November 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm taking those days off. Are they? Are those work days?
If I could take those days off, I would.
I'm taking it out. I'm taking an extended weekend. I'm not going to show up on the 4th or the 5th. I'm literally popcorning it up, and I'm doing it. I'm going hard in the night, watching these numbers.
Putting your tuggy on and freaking just popcorn.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be crazy. You know what's really interesting is that, so I live in Washington State. Washington State is like massively blue, right? We really, I should say King County. King County,
blue.
King County, where the majority of people in the state live, massively blue. Okay, that's how this works.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect to see a lot of like election interference or anything like that here, but yet, let me see if I can find the article. Oh yeah. So a rather popular kind of like person in the social media here in the Pacific Northwest, right? Erica PNW, if you want to look her up on X, it's at For the Good. So she went and recorded an entire video of using Washington's Omni ballot system, and just by using incredibly just made up information, found a random address in Seattle, in King County, made up some names, voted, filled out the ballot, and printed it out, and everything was good. It was an official ballot. She could mail it right in. And she's like, I don't think this should be happening. And yet the system was like, you're good to go.
Awesome.
Yeah. And she made up all the information. There is where is it? One of the local, the Linwood Times is doing an investigation, and they said that that they would be releasing an article yesterday, and I even asked them for a link to the article. No article. They haven't come up with one. So we're all kind of left wondering, like, what the hell's going on? Like, this is strange. It's just an odd thing to see here in Washington, but it looks like nobody is safe. If you're Dominion or any of these systems, if you're using any of these common systems, you got to watch it.
Washington has had a hell of a 4 years. I mean,
True.
I imagine there's a lot of people that are real fucking fed up with it up there.
Have you been to Seattle?
I have not been to Seattle in the last few years.
We're a
But
bunch of idiots.
I'm not
We-
saying
like,
I'm not saying that that's not true.
Like we literally, like, not me personally, but these people are walking around just smelling each other's wokeness. That's what they do. That's all they care about. It's fucking absurd.
I do understand that there's some like pageantry with it, and
You have
it's
no
like
idea. It's
like
so bad.
we gotta one up, the next guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that kind of tribalism exists, and it doesn't make me happy to see it. But the small business owners downtown and all of the people that have been impacted by the homelessness and the drug problems, I mean, and the defund the police movement that happened up there, you would have to think something like even Inslee was like, yeah, I'm not going to run again, and it's got to be bad when he's like, oh yeah, the winds are against me now.
Mm-hmm.
You
would think. There's a reason why I left King County. These people decided it would be a good idea to increase. They literally voted to increase the cost of their vehicle tabs from $50 to insane numbers.
Yeah.
My wife's GTI, the last year we were there, tabs for the year was $800. It was like, whoa.
For the year.
For the 1 year for one car. And I was like, okay, we're leaving.
You know what it costs in Idaho?
$48.
$48.
Yeah. So
for 2 years, I think.
To your point, we left. We literally just went to the next county north in Snohomish County, and now life is great. Life is back to normal. But I'm just telling you, they voted for that.
Yeah.
These people in King County were like, yes, we're going to use this money and we're going to send it straight to the prisons and we're going to pay for everybody's gender reassignment surgery. Is it prisoners? We're going to do that for... No, I'm not. I'm leaving is what I'm going to do. Like, there's no fucking way I'm going to pay for a single gender reassignment surgery for a prisoner. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Not sorry. Right?
Sorry, Carlos.
Yeah, no, this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. The thing... And he's in the right spot. Okay, I mean, I will say this: that we're talking about Carlos. He's a guest, our first guest on the podcast. He's a loon, and he is basically a Marxist. Maybe I think is what we learned. And yeah, he cannot wait. He literally after that podcast, I guarantee you, he raced down to the local prison and just started throwing money at the local at their ward. So that everybody could go have their penises chopped off, and he was probably right there with the scalpel. He's like, "Let me do it." This guy, he was so. I've never seen somebody so happy to just actually just throw his money straight into an incinerator. Fucking nuts. Carlos, if you're listening to this, I love you, but you're a psycho.
Oh my gosh, I think we got to be coming up on 40 minutes.
Yes. All right. Well, on that bombshell, we let's go ahead.
We're leaving on a high note.
Leaving on a very high note.